Hey everyone, this video is going to be a little bit different. Today we are going over my BWR Race Recap.
Let's go!
So unfortunately, while I was trying to get some ride footage, I realized that I left my SD card at home. So that led me to not be able to get any ride footage at all. So today I'm going to go over some things like what strategies I used and what did and did not work for me. Okay, so to start things off, let me tell you how I approached this race. So I came into this race loaded with carbs. For breakfast I had 2 pancakes and a banana. And carbs are very important for races like these because you need a source of energy to burn for a long time, especially when you're riding like 60, 70 miles, and so on. I also made sure I had a lot of nutrition on me coming into this race because I knew that would be very important. Alright, so now let's talk about the actual race itself. So right off the start, I knew I had to fight for position because there were hundreds of racers racing. I was holding a pretty fast pace, trying to find a draft, and then eventually I found a good draft that I could hold for a while. Less than 10 miles in, we hit the first main climb. Yeah, everybody was pacing themselves up this climb because, you know, it was in the first 10 miles. Nobody wanted to blow up within the first 10 miles, so everybody was pacing, and this is where I chose to eat and drink as much as I could so that I could stay hydrated and store some energy for later. After the big climb, we hit this pretty big paved descent. I will say I went down it with caution because it was very twisty and turny. You had hundreds of riders going down it and cars flying up, so yeah, the turns were blind, and I just chose to not take it too fast. I chose to play it smart and try not to crash within the first 20 miles of the race. Once we got done with the descent, I joined this other draft to just draft off for a while, not waste too much energy. So I was drafting off of them, and then we came to the 70 and the 100 mile split. So in this race there are different distances you can race, and I chose to race the 70 mile, but unfortunately everybody I was drafting off of was racing the 100 mile. So once we hit that split, absolutely everybody I was drafting off of split to the 100, so I was by myself riding into the 70 mile split, which was not very good because you can lose a lot of speed just trying to pace yourself, and it's really hard to just find that good pace where you won't burn out. So I was just trying to just find that good pace and just hold it for as long as I could. And after we hit this paved descent, we got on this other road called Pinnacle. And Pinnacle is a very, very chunky gravel road. I'd say the gravel is probably about the size of my hand. So I really reduced my pace going into this road because I didn't really want to take my chances of getting a flat and not finishing. And Pinnacle was probably also one of the most miserable parts of the race, for me at least. So after we got off Pinnacle, I was still by myself, and then we got on this like flat paved road. And here I chose to push the pace because I was still feeling good, and I didn't want to be by myself anymore. So I went off to find another draft, but this for me was a mistake because eventually I ended up cracking after I made this long hard effort. So after riding a few pretty slow miles because I was cracked after making that effort, I caught up with this other group on this pretty small paved climb that was also pretty tired, so I chose to stay with them for a little bit and try to recover, and I was hoping that I could come back and feel a little bit better after recovering behind this group. So after that really small paved descent, we hit this gravel downhill, and I feel like here was where I was like, alright, you know, I'm gonna get away from this group and I'm gonna try to make a gap because I started to feel a bit better, and it was a descent too, so I also was able to recover a little bit. So I decided to pass the group, and I was flying down this gravel road, still not feeling the greatest, but I was still trying to recover, especially since it was a descent. Okay, so once we stopped descending, we hit this last main climb of the race called Jumping Jeterberg. It's quite the funny name for a road, but this road was very, very steep and long. Yeah, after 50 miles of riding, I was pretty tired. Yeah, but I was able to make a lot of passes going up this road because there were many people walking up it, and even though I was tired, I still felt I was strong enough to just keep climbing up that road. So that's what I ended up doing, and I ended up passing a whole lot of people. So I think right there was a pretty good spot for me to make a lot of passes. And yeah, that climb was very, very difficult. Definitely probably the second most miserable part for me. I will say I was relieved to finish this climb. But once I was done, my tank was empty. I had nothing left. So with only a few miles to the finish, I was taking my sweet time to get there.
Well, we had Sean Cooper finishing. I got to give Jonathan LaRocca a shout out as well. This is Rowan Hirtriter. So Rowan finishing right now.
What do you guys say?
I'm cooked. I left it all out there.
So after 68 miles of torture, I did finish, and I managed to get 5th in the 18 and under wafer category, the 70-mile race. And I was pretty stoked about this result, but I was also kind of bummed because I only did podiums 3 deep. Alright, so my next video will be in Pennsylvania for XC MTB National Championships. So subscribe if you want to see that, and be sure to follow me on Instagram. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one, and thanks for watching.
Got anything you want to say about that race?
It was hard and long and kind of miserable.
What position did you finish in?
5th.
5th?
Yeah.
And under 18?
Yep.
Nice.